My course operates off of what is known as a standards-based grading system. So I'd like to take just a few minutes to kind of explain the process, some of the differences, and the benefits of this system. So much like any class, let's say, for example, we're doing Unit 1, one-dimensional motion. The students would do classwork, labs, projects, quizzes, homework. If you were to walk into the classroom, it would look very much like a traditional classroom. The students are doing work in a variety of different means. After about maybe a week or two of doing those activities, we'll have their formal assessment, a test like they're used to. But whereas in most classes, the test would culminate at the end of the unit and then you move forward to the next section, I like to give the students an opportunity to learn from their mistakes or learn from their failures and try and understand how to improve. So we'll continue after that, generally for about a week. They'll get their test back. They'll take a look at what they know, what they don't know. We'll continue doing additional labs, projects, homework, classwork, all on the same material, no new material. It's kind of like an introductory phase, then a test, and then a reinforcement phase. And they'll take a second test, different questions, same exact unit, same exact concepts. It's their chance to take anything that they made mistakes on the first test and improve from that. Now, the big difference lies in the fact that of all of this work, the only thing that produces a grade will be the formal assessments, the tests. And that is because while they're doing classwork, labs, project, quizzes, homework, etc., they're getting support from myself, from peers. They're getting help, assistance. So attaching a grade to that is not really a true reflection of what they know. The grade in my course is produced from their ability to sit down and to demonstrate without any assistance whatsoever what they understand about the subject of physics. Now, I know a lot of people forget when they see that, but if you bear with me, I will elaborate on that and try and explain why this system is better, even in light of the fact that tests are the only thing that produce a grade. You probably think I'm a lunatic right now, so I'll just go one step further. And while there are A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's in my course, when the students get the tests back, it's based more on a number system, 0 to 4. Essentially, 4 being you have aced this, you understand everything, you could probably teach it. 0 being, well, 0, you didn't hand anything in. I literally couldn't make any claim, but it's a scale from 0 to 4. The closer to 4, the better the student is understanding. Closer to 1 or 0, there's significant work that needs to be done. Now, all of these crazy numbers I'm talking about, they can be translated to a traditional letter grade, so this has no impact on their GPA, their class rank, anything like that. Everything does get translated or converted into a traditional letter grade, and in that respect, nothing's going to be different. It's kind of just the route to get there will be a little bit different, but the end destination will be the same. Just to give you a quick kind of understanding of what's going on here, let's say your son or daughter takes their first test and they get a 2.0. All right, so you say, hey, how was your day in physics? And they say, I have no idea. I got a 2 on this thing and I don't know what it means. Well, as I said, a 2 in my class basically means they moderately understand the concept. There's quite some work to be done, but they are a little bit beyond the fundamentals. Okay, they're at that middle range understanding. Anyway, they come back in, they take a look at what they did well on, what they didn't do well on. They'll continue to do labs, projects, whatever for the next week. And they come back in, now they really understand it. This is the same content, but now they understand it. Well, I don't believe in averaging those two together and saying 4 plus 2 divided by 2 gives me 3. No, I think that what they did in the second test, which was probably yesterday, carries way more weight than what happened maybe a week ago, which was their lower score. What they just demonstrated to me very recently was that they understand this material. So I weight things differently. The most recent test is always weighted the most because that's the most representative of what they currently know. So I multiply the first score by 25%, the second score, and I get this composite score. And then I can go check my little conversion chart, and we can see here that a 3.5 lines up with an A minus. So this student has an A minus. And again, they probably have absolutely no idea how they got their A minus in terms of my system, but they say, hey, I got an A minus, this is great, and they move on with their life. Usually at this point, I mean, it's a video, so I can't see you guys, but I'm going to assume you're probably looking at the screen much like the students look at me when I explain this, because this is usually the version of what's staring back at me on the first day of school when I've explained this. And the logical question, of course, is that's a wonderful example you gave, Mr. Walkowicz, in which I got an A minus. But what happens if I fail? What if I literally get this test back? I have no idea how my score was calculated, and I have an F or I have a D. And that's where my system, I think, really can benefit the student. So here's maybe an example we were referring to. They didn't do very well in the first one. They got a 1. Remember, you want to try and get closer to a 4. They worked their butt off for the next week and they improved, but again, they're maxing out at a 2. They still have a significant amount of work to do. I do my weighted calculation, and it turns out that they have a 1.75, which in my course is a D minus. I'm assuming mom and dad aren't happy. They're not happy. No one's probably happy. Here's what's going to happen. We will move on in the course with the next chapter. So in class, we're going to move forward, next chapter, new material, etc. But if your son or daughter is willing to arrange time during their lunch, study, after school, whenever they have the free time, they can meet with me. We will do more labs on that older material. I will come up with some problems. I will help them out, all on that older material. And once we both feel that they have sufficiently improved, they can come back in. I will make another test on that previous material, and they can sit down and take it again. I call it a reassessment. Let's say in this case, this student came in, did the extra work outside of class, and they improved further. Well, once again, I'm going to redistribute those weights because they've now shown me that they understand it better than they did a week or 2 weeks ago. And what once was a D minus, based on my system, would now be a B minus. I don't average the D minus in there. I literally get rid of it in Genesis, and I now replace it with a B minus. This student has demonstrated to me through additional effort and I just realized I spelled this wrong. Please don't judge me for that. This student has spent additional effort, and they're showing me that they understand physics. So I will absolutely make sure the grade book reflects what they know. If they're still not happy, they can come in, they can do this again and again and again. It requires wow, I spelled it wrong twice. You can judge me now. So this student absolutely put a lot of extra time in. I have no problem going into the grade book and changing their D minus to a B minus to an A minus, so long as I see the evidence that they're understanding this material. They can do this an unlimited number of times within any one marking period. I will just continue to help them as long as they're willing to put that effort in, and during class they're putting the effort in as well. It's a safety net for the students to make sure that they always have opportunities to learn from their mistakes and show me exactly what they understand. The only things I require of the students in order to qualify for these are some basic, be a decent human being rules. They need to complete all the non-graded assignments. If they have the attitude of, well, he's not grading this work, I'm not going to do it, then they shouldn't expect some reassessments. Just want to point out I spelled it correct here, so doing a little bit better now. Students will be prepared for class every day, so they just need to show up with calculator, pen, pencil, strong work ethic. They should not be completing work for other courses because that's just my personal pet peeve. They should be actively participating, being proactive, and everyone in the classroom should help create an environment where students feel comfortable admitting they don't know something, making mistakes, learning from them, etc. I've done this for the last 6 years, and I've had about 275 students, and this is the breakdown. So even though I do offer these unlimited reassessment opportunities, you can still see here that about half of my students end up with the final average for the course in the B range. About a quarter of them end up with an A, about a quarter of them end up with a C-ish, a few end up with a D, and I have had at least one person who didn't pass the course. But in a course where someone can take unlimited reassessments, I do believe that was more on the student than the course itself. So if the students are willing to put the time in, willing to work hard, they will always have those opportunities to improve, and I will make sure to work with them to get them to that point. I hope this was in some way enlightening, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me.